Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Trauma.HQ. My name's Olivia and this is where we sit by the pond and we have a little chat. And today, what I'm going to talk about is a brilliant experience that I had just recently. I got to speak with another content creator called the Content PT. I highly recommend that you check out his channel. He's got really great content. I actually reached out to him because he does an awful lot of work with personal trainers. He's been involved with the bodybuilding industry. He hasn't competed, but he's involved, and he's had quite a few people on his show that talk about bodybuilding. I'm also a seasoned competitor myself. I started back in 2017 when I did my first show, and in 2019, that's whenever I did really well. I got a state championship. I got to first and a third at nationals, and then that qualified me to go to worlds where I came third in the world. Of course, I do love the sport. But the reason why I reached out to him was because I have a very controversial opinion about bodybuilding. I believe that bodybuilding is a method of self-harm. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the episodes of Trauma.HQ, do a little favor for me and hit that like button for this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss another episode. All right, back to the rest of it. Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to really hate what I have to say about that, but a lot of people in the industry actually agree with me on that. And we had a very good chat about all of the concepts and why bodybuilding is so detrimental to our health and what it does to us.
That's the heartbreaking part. You're so blissfully unaware.
I just want to make this clear. I am not bagging bodybuilding. I love it. And one day I do hope to compete again. I just need to get over a few things that have happened with my body recently. The reason why Ads wanted me to talk about this particular topic is because he wanted to challenge the concept. Although every single time I say this to anyone in the fitness industry, pretty much 90% of people will say, yeah, I actually agree with you on this.
Hey, she's right, you know. Yeah, but still, cheap shot.
So why is it a method of self-harm? First of all, you have to go into excess. Bodybuilders don't just go and train at the gym just to either be healthy, move their body, or lose a bit of weight. They go to build a massive amount of muscle and shred as much fat as they possibly can. It's not uncommon in the bodybuilding industry for people to push to such an excess that their mortality drops. With the mortality rate being under 50, consider that you can live to 80, 90 years old. Pushing to that excess and being in that field, it goes to show that there is a high risk whenever you want to take yourself very seriously. Another thing that happens with bodybuilders, and you will see this for an awful lot of athletes, is that they start out of crisis. As an example, I started because my marriage was on the rocks. I was not in a good, healthy place, so I decided, because my ex-husband did not want to have anything to do with me in the home, I decided to take myself out of the home and go to hit the gym. And I was surrounded by fitness fanatics, learned about bodybuilding, and decided, right, I'm going to do this, not realizing that it was actually masking the true issues at the time. And that goes the same for anyone that ends up going into a self-harming method. Self-harm is not just about the physical act of hurting yourself. It can also be taking drugs. It can be drinking. It can be binge eating. There are so many ways in which we can find comfort in the release of pain. One of the questions that Ads did actually ask me was, can't someone just enjoy it? Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can go to the gym and work out, but how much are they doing? I know a lot of people that do 7 days a week. At my worst, I was at the gym for 8 hours a day.
Because I want those people to know that I'm not a joke.
That's not healthy. That's excess. That's not taking control. The idea of self-harm is that you're actually taking control of something because you've lost control in other areas of your life.
There you go, boys. See how Papa takes care of you?
The downside of bodybuilding that no one ever really talks about, although they joke about it, is body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia disorder is something that I have struggled with most of my life, and you will find that more girls will struggle with this than boys. But girls definitely do struggle with this a lot, especially whenever they're going through puberty. But what is body dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia is kicking in and telling me every stick figure I've ever drawn is actually a self-portrait.
A lot of people don't actually realize that body dysmorphia is actually a form of obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. Just FYI, guys. If you don't like something and you say you're going to trigger my OCD, that's not OCD, that's a control issue. But obsessive compulsive disorder, that is a completely different thing. A person with obsessive compulsive disorder is riddled with anxiety. It holds them back massively. One particular task of leaving a room can take anywhere from 45 minutes to 3 hours for a person with OCD. So believe me, whenever I meet people who say, oh, that's going to trigger my OCD, I don't let it slide too easy. Body dysmorphia is very closely linked with OCD because you have an obsessive compulsion to check your body. And when you do bodybuilding, you definitely check your body on an obsessive compulsive level. You don't stop looking in the mirror. You don't stop judging and checking to see exactly where all the pockets of fat are. You're constantly analyzing your food to every single microgram that there is, thinking that is that one particular gram going to affect your macros? Is that gram going to make me fat? Is that gram going to affect my progress? You are analyzing every single thing and constantly looking in the mirror, judging yourself to make sure that you are being as harsh as you possibly can be. Now, the thing with bodybuilding, you have most likely started it for one reason that was not related to body dysmorphia. For a lot of people, it's a breakup. For a lot of people, it's a crisis of not knowing what to do in life. For others, they have personality disorders. All of these things are just the starting point as to why someone would go into bodybuilding. Some people will go into bodybuilding not having body dysmorphia at all, but because bodybuilding is solely based around looks and how you're supposed to present yourself with all of the hard work that you do, you end up becoming obsessively compulsive about the things that you have to do to get to stage. So that means that it's a learned behavior.
I'm gonna go work out. Again? It's like the 8th time today. I'm not satisfied until every vein is forced up against my skin.
So what happens when you finish bodybuilding? There is a phenomenon that happens with bodybuilding after you have graced the stage, and it's called post-comp depression, also known as comp blue. It's the fact that you have achieved your goal to make it to stage. Some people even win and do really well. You've gotten on stage, you got your medal or your trophy or your sword or your statue, and then what? That's it. That's all you did it for. And yeah, some people will say, well, there's a grand prize. Even if you are given 10 grand as a prize, that will not cut how much you have spent to get to stage. Yeah, they don't tell you how much it costs to get to stage, especially if you're a woman. Women have to spend money on the bikinis, the heels, the jewelry, the hair, the makeup. Then of course there's the tan, which also the men have to buy. And it's a special tan. You can't just get it off the shelf. But then of course you also have to pay to enter into the competitions and whatever class you want to get into as well. Not forgetting the posing classes that you have to do leading up to it, because everyone on stage has been trained on how to pose in that way. You don't just learn it on YouTube. If anything, you can't, because everybody's different. Never mind the gym membership that you bought. What about all the supplements that you have to get and the amount of food you need to take as well? Through comp prep, you're generally eating an awful lot more than the average person, but you can't eat out, so that's okay. That's the other thing as well that nobody tells you is how isolating and alone it is, which also contributes to you having these mental problems whenever you're going through comp prep.
I'm so lonely.
Because you're completely isolated from everyone. The only people that you surround yourself with are other bodybuilders because they're the only ones that know what you're going through. You can't be with any other friends because they'll start judging you and putting you down for wanting to try and do something that sounds crazy, which technically they're right, it is. Look, I'm really excited for this conversation to air with Ads, and I really enjoyed this conversation. He said he really enjoyed it as well. But of course, what ended up coming from that conversation was the fact that a lot of people do actually go into bodybuilding with the wrong intentions. Now, I'm not saying that bodybuilding is a bad sport and a lot of people who do it are bad people or that they're troubled people or messed up people. They generally become that way as they go through the process. They're just dealing with something that they don't want to address at that time. And sometimes they never will. This guy right here, that is C-Bum. He's a 4-time world champion Mr. Olympia. And unfortunately for him, he's had an extremely hard life that he will not talk about. These guys know the road that they're going down. So next time you see a bodybuilder and you think that looks crazy, it's a lot crazier than it looks. All right, guys, I hope this gave you a little bit of an insight to what it's like to have body dysmorphia and being a bodybuilder. I can't wait for the episode to air with Ads. He is fantastic and you should really go out and check his channel. But I am going to leave it there, guys, and I will see you again next time for another episode of Trauma Pond HQ.